Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Head to Head Sports. I am your host, Brian Parker, along with my co-host, Mr. Randall Hargrove. How are you, sir?
What's going on?
Man, what's going on indeed? What's going on is that we have NFL still going on. We've just wrapped up week 9 out of 16 regular season weeks. So, great job. NFL is still going along. Fantasy people are happy, I'm sure, and I'm thoroughly happy because I didn't really believe it was going to last as long. I'll be honest with you.
They've done a phenomenal job. They really have. We ain't got the bubble as the NBA had it, and select stadiums like the Major League Baseball had. So they've had to follow some very strict protocol in order to be where we're at today. And I am happy to get through half the season. If we make it to at least another 4 weeks and get 12 weeks deep into this thing, no matter what happens, even if there is a outbreak, we will have played enough games to determine playoffs. So I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm very impressed by what the NFL has done.
No doubt, no doubt. So we concluded our week 9 on Monday night, but what was your overall take from week 9?
Week 9, I'm going to keep it in-house, talk about my Panthers.
Yeah.
On the positive, very, very impressed by their effort against Kansas City. And in Kansas City, where I don't care if there's, only half capacity or 3/3 capacity, 33% capacity, still a tough place to play at. And for those young cats to go on the road and hang all the way to the end of the game like they did, I was very impressed. Now, that's the good. The bad, DJ Moore. Once again, where you at? And we will get to that later.
Yeah, I agree. That game was a pleasant surprise because going into that game, we both just written that off as an L. And to be honest, Joey Sly doesn't miss a field goal, and that game could have been had a whole different outcome.
I'm telling you.
And they were aggressive. I want to see them like that all the time, taking some chances. They did some trickery. The punter throws a 28-yard pass. They go for it on 4th and 14, 4th and something else. Bridgewater, there's a lot of times, if I had to critique Teddy, I would have said, Teddy plays it safe too much for me. And that could be a double-edged sword. I could be getting myself in trouble saying that because what I mean is a lot of times if he instantly doesn't see anything, he throws the ball at people's feet, he throws the ball away. So he's good at that to minimize taking a sack for 9-yard loss, throwing a pick, unnecessary pick, just throwing the ball up in the air like old Brady did the other day, which was the dumbest throw I've ever seen him throw.
Terrible.
Like a jump ball. So he doesn't do stupid stuff like that. For that, I applaud him. But sometimes I'm like, Teddy, you can run. And I don't want you to turn into RG3. I don't want you to turn into Lamar. I don't want you to be Cam. But you can move the pocket when you need to. You don't have to just stay in that pocket. There are certain times when if they're coming in the middle, bootleg. At least run the edge before you throw it down at somebody's feet. Be a little bit more elusive. I understand there's a risk, somebody coming around you blindside, strip sacking and things like that. But if I can see that you're actually trying to make a play, those are a little bit more forgivable. And nobody really expects you guys to do anything anyway. Go for it.
Yeah.
In the words of our last president, what do you have to lose? You're playing with house money. So I loved it. It looked like they played like a team that had nothing to lose, and they left it all out on the field. Teddy sat there, took that ball, went airborne for that first down. Man, I jumped out.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was like, wow.
And I'll add to what you said in two ways. We were talking about you want him to be more mobile and get outside the pocket and, do some things. He's got that agility. I give it to him. But, that Carolina offensive line is just not where it needs to be at, man. It really is not. And Carolina has not invested in their offensive line. Well, let me change that. They have invested in it in second and third round picks. Now, this season coming up with the way the season is unfolding, they're going to have to get that first round left tackle that they could stick in day one and is ready to roll at that position for the next decade. And I don't know who it is, but to me, they got to go ahead and address that thing now, because the Greg Littles and the Tyler Moultons and the off-season acquisition that they got, Russell Okung, they're just throwing things at the wall to see what sticks at left tackle. And all you got is this revolving door of inconsistency, man. We got to get back to an established Jordan Gross type left tackle. Yep, because that surprise. I mean, that you put that to stabilize the line and give Bridgewater more time, you're going to see much more positive results. This Kansas City game that he played, he was under immense pressure.
And when he had time, to your point,
when he had time,
he was money.
He was money. He was money. He really was. And even under all the pressure that he had, man, I believe he was still pretty accurate with his throws, if I'm not mistaken. Something in the realm of
stuff.
Maybe even as high as 30 out of 40. I'll look it up. But very good game on his part. Just didn't turn out like we needed it to turn out.
Teddy was 36 of 49.
Wow, not bad at all when you complete 36 passes.
No picks,
and only 13 of them hit the ground.
Right.
Very efficient.
And some of those were drops.
Drops. And we will get to that right now.
2 touchdowns, no picks, 310 yards. Beautiful line. If he do that every game, they'll win more than they lose. He was clean.
I'm going to tell you what frustrates me more than anything with this DJ Moore kid, man. You got Curtis Samuel diving, making amazing catches. Did you see that catch that he made, man? Incredible. You got on the other side, the Sun God, Robbie Anderson. Same thing. Another diving catch. You even got McCaffrey, who laid it out, diving, making spectacular grab. You got Bridgewater on that fourth down play, getting airborne, doing what he needs to do, sacrificing his body, laying it out, trying to win that game. And I'm looking at DJ Moore, and I'm like, where is this kid at, man? Where is he at? He is the slant route king.
Right.
He's a one-trick pony. He could run that slant route on the inside, and if he breaks that, good. But if not, it's 8-yard, 10-yard gain in a cloud of dust. I need more from a first-round pick, man. I really need more.
Does he know what a double move is?
He has nothing else on the route tree. He has nothing else on the route tree other than that inside slant pattern. That's it.
You can't be a number one then.
No, not at all. And then I'm looking at some of the replays of the way he runs routes, and it's like he's just out there. There's no crispness to it. I believe if you and I took CrossFit for about 2 weeks, we could get out there and cover DJ Moore.
That's sad. Well, because if he's that predictable, though, you don't really have to do a whole lot. All you got to do is either jam him or play him a little tight and just blanket him a little bit. They're not playing up on him. They're not pressing him like that. They're just sitting there blanketing him. They don't have to.
Following him. They don't have to. They're just following him around because he's so predictable with his moves that they really don't have to invest anything as far as knowledge into how to stop the kid. He stops himself. And Carolina's in a really interesting predicament. Maybe not this year, but next, when his contract is up, his rookie deal is up. Right now, I'm saying do not renew the kid. Invest your dollars in Curtis Samuel, and re-sign Robbie Anderson. Those are the two I want to see stick around for the long term. I'm over DJ Moore. The DJ Moore experience is done for me.
Yeah, because he signed in 2018. So I'm thinking he's getting pretty close to them having to decide to pick up his option or not. I would
Yeah,
definitely say not.
not for this kid at all,
Everybody
man.
was hoping he was going to be like the second coming of Steve Smith because of what he did in Maryland. Because he's that undersized receiver that makes spectacular catches and things like that. But
No, not at all. And he's got a
no,
lot of strength. He's got a good arm bar, the same as Smitty had a great arm bar, but stiff arm, I mean,
yeah,
not an arm bar. But I mean, the attitude of Smitty is not there. Maybe the physical
right,
tools and the speed of Smitty, but the attitude of you're not going to beat me, and I am the smaller man out here on this field that's going to get the best of the bigger guy every time because I refuse to lose. He doesn't have that. He's not a lion, man. And you look around the league at all the number ones, the Mike Evans of the world, Boss, Lion. Where else we going? We going Julio Jones down in Atlanta.
mm-hmm.
We going. We'll stay in the own division. Michael Thomas with the Saints. All of those are number one wide receivers with attitude. Give me the ball. I demand the ball. I'm not seeing any of that out of DJ Moore.
Yeah, yeah. When it's time for me to make a play for my team, I'm going to show up. In that whole potential
Right.
game-winning drive. Oh Lord. Uh-oh. Well, my video just went out, but can you still see me?
I got you.
Oh wow. Okay, that's just weird. And you can see me okay?
Yep, I can see.
Okay.
See and hear you.
All right. Well, I'll keep going. My my screen just went blank. Oh, there. Well, oh my goodness. What in the world is going on? Okay, there it goes. It came back. No, I was gonna say in that whole drive, there wasn't any time where you felt like DJ was gonna step up, and he didn't. It took McCaffrey to make that catch, and then Kirko came back and made the exact same catch where he stretched out for it. Teddy did his thing. Not once in that sequence did you think
Yeah,
DJ Moore was going to step up and do anything. So, and now they have
not at
the
all.
Bucks. Now they got the Bucks
If you
coming. So
want
what's
to
going to
hear
happen?
DJ Moore, you want to hear DJ Moore's stat line for the game. A game of that magnitude, a game that we really had to have. Curtis Samuel, 9 receptions, 105 yards. Robbie Anderson, 9 receptions, 63 yards. Tough catches, we saw that. McCaffrey in his first action back, 10 receptions, 82 yards. Our number one receiver, DJ Moore, 2 receptions, 18 yards. I'm done with it, man. I'm over it. I'm over it.
Hey, I'm with you, brother. I mean, come on, come on. And I don't know if it's
Yeah, man.
they need
That
to
was just
run.
frustrating.
I don't know if they need to run more gadgets for him, but you can't just be a gadget guy if you're the number one. I mean, that works for Curtis Samuel when they do the double handoffs and stuff like that because he can run that edge and actually, get around. They do all that little Houdini stuff in the backfield, and then it turns into a 5 to 10 yard gain. That's fine. That's not DJ Moore's thing. And if you're number one, don't need to be a thing. I understand sometimes you got to do that though to kind of get them involved, get their momentum. Is he really playing every snap? Then you start to wonder that is he really going hard every snap? Is he
Exactly.
blocking? Is he doing all those other things that make
Exactly.
you number one?
Exactly. B,
Yeah.
do me a favor when they play this weekend. Even if the ball is not thrown his direction, they show a replay on the screen of the ball being thrown to one of the other receivers. And during the replay, just watch his route running. It is lazy, it's not crisp, and it lacks effort. And then compare that to what you see from a Curtis Samuel and Robbie Anderson, and you're gonna be like, wow.
Wow. Yeah, that's
Over DJ Moore, man. I
that's
don't need
unbelievable.
sometimes, I need all the time.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. So what's going to happen this week with them in Tampa?
It's probably going to be another loss, and at this point with the Panthers, I'm good with it. I'm good with it enough to show me who needs to be on the team next year, and also show me what holes need to be filled in order to get to a better place and be a better team next year. The young cats on this team are hungry. I like Phil Snow. He is working with he's just working with what he's got for this defense right now. But I like the aggressiveness of the head coach and the offensive coordinators. I think we have some good pieces in place to solidify this offensive line so Teddy could have some time to look for his weapons downfield. And the Panthers are going to be all right. They're going to be all right. Add a few more pieces on the defense, and we're heading in the right direction.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, so a game that I thought was going to be a total blowout and ended up being a whole lot closer than it had to be.
Man, I already know what you're going to say. Look, it's like those from the outside looking in, if you're not a true, like, Steeler fan, like just diehard like I am, you probably would have expected this game to be a blowout. But me, I already knew it, man. I already knew it. I had it starred on my calendar as a letdown game, and that's exactly what happened.
See, I thought if this was going to be like, you always look at trap games
Mm-hmm.
as the game that happens before the big game. So like when Carolina and Duke play, if they play Wake Forest right before they play Duke, maybe they looking too far ahead and they
Right.
let Wake Forest get them or something like that. But it's coming after they had the big game against the Ravens. So, and you're playing a third string quarterback, and you're it's like you're trying to do things you don't need to do against a third string quarterback. Like they were overdoing it.
I don't. It's baffling to me. It really is. Mike Tomlin is a great coach. He is. He's a great coach. I just saw on the ticker the other day that I think this is his 14th consecutive season
Mm-hmm.
without a losing record. That is amazing. He does it next year. He sets a record. So, not saying he's a bad coach. But two things that have gotten under my skin with him is the inability to keep these fourth quarter leads. That's one. And then these letdown games where they just seem to get on the same playing field as these inferior teams. And this has been an ongoing issue since like 2014. I don't know what the fix is, but I do know if they allow it to continue, it's going to rear its ugly head in the playoffs, and they're going to get caught by one of these wild card teams.
That's true. And I understand that at some point, a win is a win. You learn from it and move on. But you got to make sure that if that's something that's consistently rearing its ugly head, it's going to rear it at the wrong time.
Yeah,
Because I
man.
remember last week we were talking, and I'm sitting there giving them so much praise because I'm like, well, they done beat Baltimore. It looked like everything else in front of them is pretty darn easy. And I'm like, but there's got to be a game in there where they're just not going to come ready to play. They're going to slip up. They're not going to go 16-0. Really? Are they
No,
really going to go 16-0?
no.
You know?
Man,
But then I started looking at your schedule and I'm like, okay, Are the Cowboys going to do it? No. Are the Bengals going to do it? I don't think so.
Possibly.
Can Joe Burrow really stand up to that defense?
Yeah. I'm jaded now, man. So look, it's like, and you saw my point, like in the game, Pittsburgh coasted with these boys to the third quarter. They didn't pull away from them. They allowed Dallas to have a small lead. They didn't really step on the gas at all, not defensively or offensively. And then to the fourth quarter, they turned it on. They have that ability, yes, I guess, but I'm just worried you could get caught like that too.
But see, it was almost like they just waited for Dallas to make a mistake. It wasn't like they just sat there and just took over. They just waited for Dallas to do what Dallas always does. They snatch victory from the jaws of defeat. That's what Dallas does.
They specialize in it, especially this year.
And they were just being opportunistic. And there are games when you're going to have to be opportunistic. Sometimes there's going to be games where, a bounce here, a bounce there, a fumble that's a fumble recovery versus you fumble but you keep it. All those kind of things going to bounce your way in different seasons. But when you play in the Cowboys, who are just depleted, demoralized, and just downright terrible, you play down to your competition. It's like you're an A student, but you're turning in D assignments because it's good enough.
Because of your peers, like I said, it just baffles me. That game, I wish they had just come out strong, scored on their opening drive, maybe got another score. Dallas would not have fought back at that point.
No. If you could have finished them early.
Yep.
And they would just ran the ball, just keep making the clock move.
Yep.
And it's been over. But you gave them hope. When they're wounded like that, the worst thing you can give them is hope. Let them know there's no chance.
Exactly.
You got no shot. So that did kind of strike me as a little odd in that last week. Now the Monday night football game in Tampa Bay. Woo!
Man.
Somebody stole somebody's lunch money.
I don't know what the hell happened to Tampa.
I don't think they want to hear who that. Because they found out who that.
Yeah, they know exactly who that is now.
Wow.
I didn't see it coming, bro. I didn't see that coming at all. Not only did I not think the Saints could win the game, but to blow them out and to not allow a touchdown.
I thought it was a toss-up, and I did, predict Saints would win, even though they were playing in Tampa Bay. And the reason is that I just, I'm the one that picked Tampa to go to the Super Bowl, so I'm a little disappointed. So I did pick the Saints because I've been seeing some things with Tampa that just doesn't sit right with me.
They're not very consistent, are they?
They can't run.
Yeah, not very consistent.
They don't know if Ronald Jones is the runner. They don't know if Fournette's the runner. And Fournette got used more like McCaffrey in some ways, where he set up in the backfield and then just get a screen pass when Tom couldn't. And that if you've got a good running back like that, kind of reminds me of the Panthers. If your receivers can't get open, then your running back becomes your safety valve. Which back in the day, that used to be your tight end because at least he was in front of you. Yeah. Now they're trying to throw to the side to the running back as a safety valve, or maybe he's a yard in front, and you're expecting him to make the first person miss so he can get downfield a little bit. And that's what Leonard Fournette turns more into. Ronald Jones fumbles a couple times, get on BA's bad side, BA put him back on the side, and then go with Fournette the rest of the game, and then you don't even see Ronald Jones anymore.
It was like the Bucks were trying to run this Patriot offense with these tosses to the running backs and stuff like that, instead of using the weapons that they got downfield. And they have tremendous weapons downfield. Evans, AB now, Gronk. But it was this little dink-dunk type stuff.
Nowhere. You're right. If you would have changed the uniforms, I would have thought it was Tom Brady passing to Sony Michel or James White.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Mm-hmm. So, the Saints were not having it.
No, no,
Uh, Drew Brees looked sharp as a tack.
he didn't.
And, he did.
He was dropping dimes, and then the way they kept messing with him, bringing out Taysom Hill. Taysom even threw a nice pass, but most of the time he was doing this wildcat thing, which I'm not always been a fan of because to me it sometimes throws your quarterback's rhythm out, especially when Breeze is in a nice rhythm and he just sitting there surgically taking that defense apart. And then you say, okay, Drew, come over here for a minute and put in Taysom Hill, and you know it's going to be a designed run play.
Yeah.
But the fact that it was as effective as it was, that's a big boy.
Yeah.
And he just goes straight. You know, he don't dance around the edges. He just runs straight ahead. And if you in his way, God bless you. You're going to have to make a business decision. Because he ain't getting out of the way.
You know, life with the Saints after Breeze's retirement will be all right when they turn the keys over to that kid. He's going to be all right.
They even brought Winston in at the end of the game.
Yeah.
He ain't look bad. As long as he don't start talking about, all right, y'all, we gonna eat a W.
No W's.
Oh God, he will never live that down, ever.
Yeah,
that or his crab legs. But I was especially eating some W's and stuff. People looking at him like, what? Oh God. So yeah, that was a funny game. The Texans finally got their first win, was it? No, second win. I'm sorry. Second win against the Jags. Deshaun Watson, I've been rooting for this kid. All he does is go out and he balls out. He throws a lot of for a lot of yards and everything, but it's not paying off. He's actually number 7 in the NFL in passing yards. Fun fact, guess who's number 5?
Who's that?
EB. And I don't mean Tom Brady. I mean Teddy Bridgewater has thrown more. Yeah, number 6 is actually Tom Brady. So Teddy has thrown more yards than Tom Brady.
You know what? And that brings me back to what we were talking about earlier, man. If the Panthers would invest in building a line for Bridgewater to give him more time with the offensive weapons that they got right now, minus DJ, they're going to be all right. They'll be all right.
Isn't that scary, though? As bad as that line is, he's still number 5 in passing yards?
That's right, man. With the turnstile at left tackle. I think they're on their 3rd or 4th left tackle that they've used this year. So, yeah. Give him some stability in that offensive line. The Panthers will be okay offensively, no doubt.
That's insane. He's thrown more than Drew Brees. Teddy's thrown for 2,400 yards. Brees has thrown for 2,100. He's thrown 300 yards more, almost 300 yards more than Drew Brees. The only people in front of him is number 4 is Russell Wilson. Number 3 is Josh Allen. Because Allen slings that ball, whether it's Stephon Diggs, Cole Beasley, John Brown. He got his weapons. My homeboy is at number 2. And that's, I mean, you got Tyreek Hill on your team. Of course, you're going to, and Kelsey, especially Kelsey, you're going to get it out there like that. No. Number 1, who is it?
Passing yards, number 1, Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron is behind Brady, Deshaun Watson, Joe Burrow, then Aaron Rodgers. That's under
Okay,
Teddy
give me
Bridgewater.
one more guess on that. The kid from LA, the rookie.
Herbert is actually right after Aaron Rodgers.
Wow. All right. No more third guess. What you got?
It's the NFC South team, and that's going to be Matt
Ryan. Yeah. Having a good year, man. He's having a good year. You know what contributes to that a lot, though, is the first of all, the fact coming from behind is one of them, and then inability to protect the lead by running the football. Oh man, Henry was an idiot, boy.
Oh God. How is Matt Ryan leading? I mean, he's leading well. He's in the 2,700 yard range. Like I said, Aaron Rodgers is at 22, so he's got about 500 yards more than Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
That's
That's why
insane.
Henning is no longer there. You got these 13-point leads in the fourth quarter and you continue to pass. It's just like, dude.
And no surprise, the top two running backs right now is Dalvin Cook and Derrick Henry. Dalvin's actually got him by about 15 yards. But
Uh,
but here's the sad part. So Derrick Henry is number 2 at 843. Number 3 in running is Josh Jacobs at 588.
yeah.
So they've got 250 something, 70 something yards more than the third place running back. Even your
Have you
boy
seen it?
Edwards-Helaire is at 586.
Have you seen what Dalvin Cook has done for the past 2 weeks? Over
He lost his
200
mind.
total
He lost his
yards.
mind.
Over 200 total yards per game. That man has over 400 yards total in 2 games. He's running crazy right now.
He has 12 touchdowns for the year. Derrick Henry has 8. Jacobs has 6. Edwards-Helaire has 2. Now Todd Gurley has 9, but it's a lot of short yardage,
Goal line.
touchdowns.
Yep.
Yeah, goal lines, which is really what Derrick Henry does a lot too. But Dalvin Cook, a lot of his is from scrimmage. He just takes off and goes.
Cook has been cooking people, man. So
Oh my
we'll see
God.
what he does this week, but the last 2 weeks he's been just on a tear, man. If you got him on your fantasy team, don't play me, please. I don't want to see it.
I know. And then also looking at receiving, it's the same thing. You've got one person at number 1, and the person behind him in number 2 is about 170 yards fewer yards than him. The number 1 receiver in the league right now is on the Buffalo Bills, Mr. Stephon Diggs, formerly of those Minnesota Vikings.
We talking yardage wise or catches?
800. No. Here's the funny part. I'm glad you said that. Stephon has 63 receptions. The person behind him has 62. But the person behind him is at 651 yards, and he's at 813.
So Diggs is leading the leagues in receptions and yards.
And yards.
Wow.
By one reception, but over 170 yards.
Wow, man.
Keenan Allen is right behind him at 651.
It's funny, I don't know what happened in Minnesota, why they couldn't hang on to him. But it just reminds me, some of these clubs just really it puzzles you, their thinking, like Diggs leaves Minnesota, and now Minnesota's passing game is struggling. That's why they lean so hard on Cook in these games. And then down in Texas, the Texans, getting rid of Hopkins, which made zero sense. Just the most idiotic thing ever. And now they're struggling, a playoff team or a fridge playoff team from last year. And now they're nowhere near the playoffs. Right. And now Arizona has taken off because they now have that number 1 toy to play with. So it's just really the thinking behind some of these moves that teams make is puzzling, man.
I think that they think that they can just plug in anybody. Sometimes they really believe that crap about it's the system. We can just plug in anybody in here and make them an all-star. That works in New England.
Right.
Where you can take a Danny Amendola. You can, you can take less and make more out of. But yeah, so you got the number 4 receiver is DeAndre Hopkins. So D-Hop is still up in there. Right below D-Hop with the same amount of receptions. Wow. So, and would be Robbie Anderson.
Robbie Anderson. And that's why I say if it comes down to a money situation with these receivers the Cats are working with, you better hold on to Anderson. You better hold on to Samuels. And it's going to be deuces for DJ Moore.
Well, I'm telling you, I'm having to scroll down real far to find DJ Moore. He ain't even on the first page. I see Curtis Samuel before I see DJ Moore.
Yeah.
So I got Curtis Samuel and Robbie Anderson on this list before DJ Moore. And
he's supposed to be our
number 1
receiver.
That's why I wanted to go there. Oh, just so fun. Sometimes I love looking at the stats sometimes just to really break it down and see what the production is, because to your point, a lot of these teams really look like they tried to make decisions. They overthought it.
Yeah,
Minnesota getting rid of Diggs, like I said, Texas getting rid of D-Hop, just moving people around and thinking, oh, we'll still be okay. And it's like, really?
Yeah.
Have you heard in Minnesota, have you heard Kyle Rudolph being mentioned this year? Because he ain't done nothing.
Not at all, man.
But having Diggs on the team made him more of a threat.
Sure did.
Now, Kyle just go on block now. That's like he's going back to being a blocking tight end. I'm a little surprised about that. I was a little surprised too this week with the Bills game. I mean, it was in Buffalo, but the Seahawks came to town and made Russell Wilson look like dude.
Yeah, man. I guess Buffalo, I think they're on a 2-game losing streak, I believe. They definitely realized the urgency, put themselves back in the driver's seat as far as the AFC East is concerned. Don't want the Patriots catching them to win this thing again. I don't see it happening, but
no.
Yeah, but the Bills definitely needed to step on the gas, and they responded in a huge way. Allen, I had some question marks about him for a long time, but I mean, that kid has really put in his homework on the offseason, and it is showing up big time, as proven by what you just said, with Diggs being the top receiver in the league.
Look, Josh Allen threw 38 passes in that game. He made 31 of them.
Wow. That's what I'm talking about.
He hit for 415 yards, 3 touchdowns, and no interceptions.
Wow.
You ain't beating that. Now, Russell Wilson had 2 touchdowns, but he had 2 picks. But he threw for 390 yards. It ain't his passing. They just don't have no defense.
Nah. It's weird, Allen came into the league with Rosen and Darnold, and there was question marks about which one of those 3 would make it, and it took a long time to see who would rise to the top. You are definitely seeing cream of the crop between those 3 names right there, right now. Kudos to the Bills. You did your homework on that draft pick.
Yes. Oh, speaking of Darnold, so Darnold doesn't play the other day in the Pats game. Now, the Patriots made this game a lot closer than it should have been. I'm glad they finally pulled out a win. Cam looked a whole lot better. He just doesn't have anybody to throw it to. But Joe Flacco was throwing some bombs.
Flacco was using them deep receivers, wasn't he?
Boy, Jamison Crowder, where have you been? Welcome back. Flacco was throwing bombs into because the one that they had to go back and review, I saw it in real time. I'm like, whoa, that's a touchdown. And they had to go back and look at it, and it was a touchdown. And I'm like, but it was more, the catch was great. The location was better. Flacco, you don't see Flacco throw too many passes like that. Oh my God.
I've hated on Flacco a long time, especially with him being an ex-Raven, who are my bitter rivals. But, he came off the bench and did a phenomenal job with finding those deep receivers, a much better job than Mr. Darnold has ever done all season.
Which is where I'm going. Those are the same players that Sam was throwing to.
Yeah. So
same line.
Yeah. So, Jets, if you want to continue with this tank for Trevor movement that you're doing, you better put Flacco back on the bench and send Darnold back out.
That's absolutely true. But doesn't that really make it where you're going, okay, why Sam Darnold? Why did we do this? Why,
To me, it was a horrible draft pick. I didn't have a lot of faith in him when he was signed. Those 3 that I just mentioned, if I was lining them up, because I did my homework on that draft, I had Rosen first, actually, over the Buffalo quarterback, but I was right in my assessment of Darnold. I thought he was trash coming out of school. He's recognized to be trash thus far in the NFL. And, you know, to me, I think the Jets are going to have to play him down the stretch to raise his trade value. They want him traded, but are you going to trade for the film that you've seen on this cat for the past 8 games? They better send him out there and let him do some good things to raise at least some trade value so they could get maybe a 6th-round pick for him. Yeah.
What can you get for him?
What can you get for him? Who wants Sam Darnold? Waiver wire trash.
Yeah, you seem screwed to me. Going to another different game, I was a little surprised with Mr. Tua.
Tua
Tua showed up against Arizona. They actually pulled that game out on Sunday, 34-31 over the Cardinals. Tua's line 20 for 28 for 248 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks, and then he also ran for 35 yards. So very, very impressive. He actually was the 2nd leading rusher on his team, even though the leading rusher only had 3 more yards than he did. So they didn't necessarily light you up on the ground, but in the air, he spread it around pretty good. Devontae Parker had 64. Preston Williams had 60. Gesicki actually had 42. So he spread it around a good bit. I was pleasantly surprised. You know, the first game they put Tua in, they did okay. He didn't have to do a whole lot. But this game, they really looked like they opened up the playbook a little bit more for him in this game. And he responded positively. You know, a young kid like that, first season, I expect a couple of picks. I wouldn't have, been down on him for that, but he pretty much played a pretty clean game.
You know, there were some injury concerns with Tua coming out with the draft,
Big time.
about the hip injury. I'm not seeing any rust on that hip at all right now, man. So, again, kudos to the Dolphins for going ahead and having the balls to keep that pick and not trade it away and go ahead and draft Mr. Tua, who I believe is going to be a very good quarterback in this league. Now, Miami has something special going on down there right now. They're going to have to find themselves a running back. Once they do that, the defense is okay, enough to win games, and that offense is coming together. That Preston Williams injury is going to hurt Tua's development at the wide receiver position, but I believe that the Dolphins, what's the record right now?
5-3.
5-3. So they're still alive in the East.
They're behind Buffalo.
Yep.
They're 2 games over the Pats, so the Pats are mathematically out of it. The only problem is you've got the Titans, of course, are winning their division at 6-2. The Steelers are 8-0. Of course, you know that. Chiefs are 8-1, and then the Bills are 7-2. Now, how many teams this year from each conference are going in?
They are allowing 7 in this year, so Miami could get up in there.
So they could be, because right now at 5-3, they're tied with Oakland at 5-3, and they're also tied with Indianapolis at 5-3, and the Dukies are 5-3 as well. The only other team that's better than all of those that I just named are the Ravens, sitting at 6-2. So right now the Ravens would be the 5th team, and then fighting for number 6 and 7. You've got about 4 other teams with identical records.
So, again, very much alive in that whole playoff race. So
that's why I was a little surprised when they went from Fitzmagic to Tua, knowing that they were still so closely in the playoffs. You go ahead and turn it over to Tua, and I'm like,
it was a gamble.
That's a hell of a gamble.
Yep. It looks like that gamble is paying off, man. We'll see how it goes from here. But speaking of the playoff season, did you hear about the owners and players agreeing to allow 16 teams into the playoffs? That's been agreed upon now. It will be 8 per conference now. That was recently agreed upon as of Monday. So
effective this year?
Not this year. Not effective this year. And I don't even know if it's effective next year. It might be 2 years from now. But yeah, man, it's been agreed upon. It's been inked. The new agreement's going to be 16 teams in the playoffs. What do you think about that?
So instead of having 2 wild card games, you're going to end up with 4 wild card games.
Yeah, and it's all revenue driven,
Of course,
of course, and television ratings driven.
I think it dilutes it, but
It
revenue
does.
is revenue. It dilutes it
Revenue is
because now,
revenue.
you're already struggling with understanding that you're going to have a 4-win team from the NFC East in the playoff,
Mhm.
which is even worse than the 7-9 Seattle Seahawks that made it in a couple of years ago. You're going to literally have a under 5-win team representing their conference.
Yeah, I know. And that's
So
the only thing
you could be running. You could be running in that could. While that's kind of few and far between now, expanding it like that, you could be running into that a little bit more often.
you will be running into that a lot more often. And that's the thing I don't like. I never liked that about even college football in the bowl picture. They realize there's so much revenue out here from these bowl games that now, back in the 80s when college football was at its peak and strong, in the 90s too, you needed a good, at least an 8-win season to get up into a bowl game. Now
Now,
they're taking
6.
500 teams. Yeah, they're
Yep,
taking
6
500
6.
teams. And that's the direction that the NFL is heading. 8-8, welcome to the playoffs in the next few years. Yep.
Yeah, like I didn't get enough of it during the regular season. Now I got to see a mediocre team in a playoff game.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you.
I mean, if the goal is to make the playoffs by hook or crook, okay, great. But to me, the playoffs is like the second season where, okay, now we've separated the best from the rest. And now we're going to really see who deserves to be here. Now, it doesn't mean that you can't get hot because God knows Pittsburgh a lot of times has gone in as a wild card team and won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Because it always proves it's not if you're hot, it's when you're hot. And they get hot a lot of times at the right time. Even in the NBA, teams will do that too. They'll sneak into the playoffs as a 7-8 seed. Well, not a 7-8 seed, maybe a 6 seed. And they'll cause some damage because they got hot at the right time.
Denver Nuggets. Yep. Went all
Exactly,
the way.
exactly.
Yep.
But if you've just been poor all season long, and now you're going to get in just by default because you won because in your division, everybody bad. And you just happen to be just even much better than now or that bad.
And
Nobody want to see that.
That is the one thing I've always respected about the NFL is they took the best of the best. Sometimes you were 10-6 and still left out of the playoff picture because they took the best of the best. Now, money changes everything, man. So now the future is going to be shoot for 8 wins. You could be in the playoffs easily.
Unbelievable. All right. So with this current week, that we're going into, which is week 10. Funny to say that. Are there any games coming up that you taking special interest in?
Let me pull up the schedule here. What we have. Looking across the board. I am seeing tonight's game to be a good one. In the Colts at the Titans, a battle for the top of the AFC South. I believe that's going to be a game of interest that I'm going to be paying attention to. And also in terms of the other games, I am interested in seeing the Monday night affair between the Bears and the Vikings, another divisional battle. I would say Baltimore, New England, but I kind of figure Baltimore is going to dominate that game. Now, Cam might pull something out. We will see, but I don't have too much interest in that one. What's on your agenda?
As far as that Patriots-Ravens game, I'm of two minds about that game because, when I watch Lamar, sometimes I'm sold and sometimes I'm not. You know, he has the Michael Vick effect where you know he's got a strong arm, you know he can pass it, but you know he runs a lot. And sometimes I think he runs too much to the fact that it takes his team out of any kind of a rhythm and a tempo. I think he runs sometimes just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Yeah.
And I know that sounds crazy to say because now from a fantasy owner perspective, everything I just said sounds like straight garbage. But when I see him play, sometimes I think he's hurting his team more than helping them when he runs so much. Because I'm a receiver. You're not going to pass the ball. Now,
Hmm.
they ain't getting open enough probably for him to pass it. And sometimes he's not going through all of his reads before he takes off and runs. But I think he hurts his team in some ways. What I'm wondering is they're playing in New England, and we know Bill Belichick. Now, I know he doesn't have the defense that he's used to having, but if he can just get his defense bought in to spying on Lamar,
Could be a game. It could be a
it
game.
could be a game.
Yep.
And then have Cam, because all Cam have to do is do what he's been doing. Now, the Myers, he been kind of being Cam's go-to guy for a minute. They seem to be on the same page. He
Yep.
seems to have a good rapport with, dumping off to his running backs too. So, and then taking off and running. I don't know if the Ravens are ready for Cam to pull that ball back and run with it. I don't know.
Yep. That'll be something that we find out. It'll be interesting.
I didn't really have too many games of the week because they all seem just kind of.
Yeah, all of them. Yep.
I don't really see any that just pop out on the screen to me and go, "That's a game. That's one you need to, stay awake for." Anything like that. I mean, they're going to be decent games. A lot of them are for divisions. Like you got even the Eagles and the Giants. I just want to see if Carson Wentz is going to make it through the whole game. Or if now the good thing is it is in New York, so Philly fans won't be there to boo him. So I guess Danny Dimes is going to get more boos by default than Carson Wentz, but I actually think the Giants are going to win that game. I've actually seen Danny Dimes do a whole lot more good stuff lately, and if he doesn't regress in this game and he's playing at home, I actually think the Giants are going to win, and I don't think it's going to be that close, actually. I think they're going to – I'm taking 10.
Hey, before you make your next point, fantasy lines. I'm going to give y'all a good fantasy tip. Pick up the New York Giants defense this week versus the Eagles. You heard it here first. I'm telling you.
That's right, because Carson Wentz will throw touchdowns, but it will all be for the other team. This we know to be true. He's Jameis 2020. Jameis will throw some touchdowns, but unfortunately the other team had most of them. He's good for a pick six or two, and because Carson has already said, "I'm gonna do what I do," and they seem to be okay with that. I don't know, Carson. I don't know if you in a position to be saying that. I guess he feels like he is because they gave him all that money, and surely you're not gonna sit me down when you've given me all that money, even though you drafted a quarterback in the first round.
They got a kind of difficult situation on their hands too, but that's for them to sort out. They ain't my team.
I'd cut him and move him. I take the hit. He is not what you need. I mean, no. It's a lot more to it than just on the field. The players just don't really seem to rally around him. You put in Nick Foles, they all sit there and just put it all on the line for him. You put in anybody else, they just seem to they seem like a totally different team, and it's the same players. That tells me something's going on with the quarterback. There's a lot more going on in that locker room, I think, than gets pushed out there. Some things have seeped out to people have questioned his leadership and things like that. So, but that starts to show up on the field. You can't hide those things. So I think it's going to be a kind of blah week. I think for the most part, whoever is supposed to win is probably going to win. I'm going to be interested to see how the Bills take their flying attack out to Arizona. It's not like Arizona's defense is just so good, but I want to see if that offense from the Bills is really going to travel. Kyler Murray, sometimes he's really good, sometimes he's not. He relies on his legs a lot too. He's a little dude. Somebody gonna get him real good one day. Somebody gonna get that angle on him, and they gonna get him. Now he been winning a lot more than he been losing when he takes off and runs. But he is a little dude. Can he keep doing that?
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of that RG3 thing, man. So
It does.
how far that
Where
goes.
you have the ability to run, but you're undersized to keep doing that. Well, to that point, he is the number 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7. He's the top. He's the 8th leading rusher.
Ridiculous. For a guy that size, ridiculous. But
He's
again,
in front of Ronald Jones, Kareem Hunt, James Conner, Kenyon Drake, David Montgomery, Alvin Kamara. Lamar Jackson is on this list. Kyler Murray is number 8. Only people above him is Zeke by a little bit, James Robinson, Ty Gurley, Edwards-Helaire, Josh Jacobs, Derrick Henry, and Dalvin Cook. He's in the conversation as far as rushing titles with those people.
Good luck until he runs into that tree. Good luck.
So somebody sit there and yeah, you know, Michael Vick never make it a full NFL season. RG3 didn't. You know, like I said, just because you can, don't mean you should.
Exactly.
You gotta make business decisions. You gotta be careful. And not only just business decisions, but you also gotta make sure, hey, this is what this guy beside me does. I need to be a threat, but I don't need to be the runner. I just need to make that defense pause enough so that they can really say, okay, is what I'm seeing what I'm really seeing? That's why a lot of times they do it from up under the center, because in shotgun, you can see a little bit better if they pull it back. They do it from under center, you really don't know. And you just want them to freeze just that second to keep that gap open just a second longer, so when the running back does squirt through, he's got a better lane. That's all you're really trying to do. It is not so that you can just use your quarterback as a running back, especially a size like that. The hits will catch up to him. Ask Cam Newton.
Yep. Again, good luck to him.
Catch up to you. Ask Dante Culpepper. The hits will catch up to you. Ask Aaron Rodgers. They will. Keep running. Ask Joe Montana. They'll catch up to you. Ask Steve Young. They'll catch up to you. But with that, we're going to close out. But everybody have a great fantasy week. I'm sure you will. Hopefully I'll rebound. I think I've replaced almost everybody on my fantasy team.
Yeah, I got 2 people left that I originally drafted, but I'm going to make it do what it do. I'm going to be like Tomlin. And speaking of Tomlin, I hope by the next show that we do, we're not sitting here talking about a Bengals victory. But I don't know, man. We will see next week.
Man, if you 8-0 and now you're not sitting there thinking, hey, guys, let's run this, and you can't get your guys up to say, hey, guys, let's run. And this is Cincinnati. They're still the Bungles. They're always going to be the Bungles, even though they're a better team now. T. Higgins is looking real good. A.J. Green, not so much. You know, but come on, y'all. This is Joe Burrow. He's good. He's going to be good, but this ain't his time. Welcome him to the NFL.
You would like to think so. You would
Come
like
on,
to
Tomlin.
think so.
Come on, Tomlin. Yeah, you done had this many years of no losing season, but that's also counting some 8-8s in there where you didn't lose and you didn't win either.
That's right.
So, yeah, we ain't gonna play that game now. You at the halfway point where you're guaranteed not to have a losing season. That's good. But we want to see not only a winning season, but you guys should be barreling through the AFC right now, where it will be clear to everybody in the league that the Steelers are for real. All the talk about Ben's demise was heavily exaggerated, and that he is here to play. And he's definitely got the weapons to do it. Claypool, Washington, Connor, you guys got them. You need to use them. Don't take your foot off the gas. Keep on playing. I don't care if it's 80. I don't care if it's 80 to 10. Go for 87. Keep
your
going.
foot on the gas all season. Keep your foot on the gas in the fourth quarter.
That's it. That's it. You don't, when you sitting there running, don't do that Danny Dimes when you running and you almost to the end zone and then you trip. Go on in there. Keep running. Keep going. Don't say, okay, it's the fourth quarter. We got a 20-point lead. There have been so many leads that have evaporated this season. If that's not enough to make you remember that no game is over until it's over, I don't know what else is. How many onside kicks have we seen this year? There's just so many innovative plays coming up. So it ain't over till it's over. Kansas City probably thought that Carolina wasn't going to come back on them either. They almost got messed up with that. So don't say it's over till it's over. You got a shot. You got a shot. Dallas, they almost made Pittsburgh understand that all too well. So they got enough history to know that, hey, even in the fourth quarter, we got to play like it's the first quarter and we down 14 points. That's how they need to play the whole season. We down. He just need to tell them, don't even look up at the scoreboard. Just keep playing.
Exactly.
That's probably what they be doing. They be doing like this.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, don't look up. We down. Just assume we down. It's fourth down every time we go at this. Fourth down. I need 10.
Look at the scoreboards and don't look at the record of the other team before the game. Just go play.
Yeah. Sometimes your record does not define you. And when you're the 8-0 team, even if there's a 2-6 team coming in, well, the only thing that they really have to play for is to make you 8-1.
Exactly right. And that's
they
what
they want to be the team to be able to say that nobody else could get you, but we the ones that got you.
Yep.
And that's all they got all year long.
We were almost their Super Bowl for this year.
Exactly. And you're going to get everybody's best shot. When you're leading the pack, they're going to elevate their play. Now they are incentivized to be the ones to give you that loss when nobody else could. And the further it goes on, the team that gives you that loss, man, that's even bigger. So they're going to be looking to do that. So Pittsburgh, hopefully you guys are listening. Or somebody share it with them and let them know that, hey, we watching you. Mike Tomlin, bruh.
Please.
I don't want you, Tomlin, I don't want to see you in your news conference with your chest all out after the game come up. Well, we played the best game we could, and when it all comes back on me, I'm the head coach. And, I just didn't have my team ready to play. I don't want to hear that. He loves doing all that. We just weren't prepared, and that starts with me. We know that.
I want to see him eat a W. That's what I want.
Yeah. Mike Tomlin.
Eat a W.
Get W. All right, well, man. Rand, I appreciate you, sir. I will see you next week. The audience, we will see you guys. Y'all take care. Stay safe. And wear a mask.